Hi, Cindy. Thanks for playing today at Toronto Bridge. It's been a while since we played together, but we go way back, 10 plus years. Cindy is still a junior, barely for another year or two, but she's been playing for quite a while, and she's definitely a very advanced player. She's played in the Canadian Women's Championships and the Mixed Championships, and she's in the final playoffs for the Canadian Mixed Championships in Penticton this month. So good luck to her and her team. So of course I tailor these towards my partner that day. So this one in particular may be a little bit more advanced than the usual one. So if you're a newer player, no worries. If some of it you don't get, that's totally cool. Maybe you can come back to it at a later time. But I thought I'd only have a couple because uh, our day did not go so well, or at least it didn't feel like it went so well. We thought we played okay, and we had a lot of good boards, but we certainly had a lot of bad luck, which is part of bridge. And a little bit of superstition. We were sitting at our assigned table, and like a minute before the game, we got switched assignments. So that sometimes messes me up. And then we sat the other direction, and the opponents kept getting all the cards. It just felt off. There was one deal, our opponent, nice lady, they got to 4 spades. She had 6 spades and like 7 points. Her dummy was a balanced 19 count with 4 spades. So every pair in the world is going to get to 4 spades. I made my normal lead. She declined the finesse, which was onside, so that cost her a trick. Her trump fit was a 10-card fit missing the king. She declined that finesse, and it was onside, so that cost her another trick. So she made 11 instead of all 13. And at the time, this was like a 20% board for us, which is ridiculous. It ended up around average, but still, that's the way it felt all day long. I'm going to show you another really cool one a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that, where it was just like we couldn't believe our eyes. This deal here, though, we played against our friends Emerald and Doug, and you opened this, pile of trash, which is totally cool, not vulnerable. First seat, you have the majors, 1 heart, and I bid 2 diamonds, game forcing, and you rebid 2 hearts. So there's a couple things, we hadn't really discussed. 2/1 sequences, whether 2 hearts is the default bid or it promises a 6th heart. And the more modern way of playing now is that 2 hearts would promise a 6th heart, and 2 spades by you would not show extra values. It would just be shaping out. So that's probably the way most experts are leaning towards now, where or in 2/1 auctions, you can just shape out with 2 spades. It's not a reverse. It doesn't promise extra values. And 2 no trump would be sort of the default catch-all bid, and 2 hearts would promise a 6th one. You rebid 2 hearts, totally fine. I knew that may only be 5 in our structure because we hadn't really talked about it. I raised to 3 hearts. So right away, I'm, not jumping to 4 hearts. I'm giving us room, bidding 3 hearts. And at this point, you have basically 3 different options. You could just raise to 4 hearts, which would be the worst hand, the bare minimum hand. So that's the bottom tier. The middle tier, you could bid 3 no trump, which is a non-serious try. Just saying you're not quite minimum, just giving us a little bit extra room to bid. And we're not going to play 3 no trump once we found a major suit fit. So that's out of the picture. 3 no trump's not natural. It's saying, I'm not dead minimum. If you're interested, we can discuss more. Or you can make a Q bid yourself, which would be a more serious slam try. And the even more advanced pairs, when we've agreed on hearts in a game forcing auction, they would use 3 spades as this non-serious sort of 3 no trump bid, and 3 no trump would be a spade Q bid. Anyway, you have a clear 4 heart bid. You do not have any extras. You have your 5-4-2-2 is the only redeeming feature of your hand, and you have a couple aces. So it's bad, but it's not totally horrible. But I agree with your 4-heart bid. Over 4 hearts, however, I bid 4 spades. And this is just a Q bid, something in spades, and further interest. At this point, I didn't bid 4 no trump key card. Okay, and whenever your partner could have bid key card and doesn't bid key card, and they're still going slamming, it should ring off alarm bells in your head, like, why isn't he bidding key card? And there's usually 2 answers for that, 2 possible answers. One is that he's missing a control in a suit. For example, he has 2 cards or more in a suit and no ace or king. So there's 2 fast losers, and he needs control in that suit. And another possible option is that your partner may be void in a suit, and you're not supposed to bid key card with a void because you don't know when partner shows aces whether they have the ace of your void suit or not, and that's going to make a difference. So here I bid 4 spades. I think over 4 spades, if you are interested in cooperating, which I think you probably are, because I bid 2 diamonds originally, so you do have ace and 1 diamond. I could even have 4 hearts, right? I could have a hand like king, queen, jack 5 times in diamonds, ace, king, 4th in hearts, and I was just setting the game force, expressing where my values are, and trying to figure out what your black suits looked like. So over 4 spades, you chose to bid key card. I don't agree with that. I think with 2 little clubs, it's far too dangerous that I'm searching for a club control, right? I've bid diamonds 2 over 1. I've supported hearts and now I've cubed spades. So it's entirely possible that clubs is our problem. So I think with 2 little clubs, you I think are good enough to try, or to at least sort of cooperate by bidding 5 diamonds. And that would pinpoint the lack of a club control. If you bid 5 diamonds, I would just be bidding a slam, no problem. I had a monster, but it's funny because when you bid 4 no trump key card, I jumped to 6 clubs to show a club void. So that solved your club control problem. But I think I could easily have a hand like king double 10 of spades, ace king 4th of hearts, king queen jack 5th of diamonds and 2 little clubs, or queen and 1 club. And then we're going to be off 2 club tricks. So I think over 4 spades, you could bid 5 diamonds is a better description of your hand, saying you've already sort of denied any cooperation by bidding 4 hearts over 3 hearts, but then you could bid 5 diamonds to say, I don't have a club control, but I have the ace of diamonds and I actually don't mind my hand so much anymore. So that was that one, but we got to 6, and you could have made 7 by taking a trump finesse, but Emerald made a good lead of a diamond, which made it look like there was a ruff coming because Dummy had 7 diamonds. So you tried to take the best shot at your contract by playing ace of trumps and another trump, and that ended up working just fine. Diamonds were 2-2, so there was no ruff available. All right, let's go to the next one. 29. No, we're going to skip 29. We'll go to number 10. This sort of shows how wonderful our day was going. You held this hand, and you're a passed hand, and it went 3 passes to 1 no trump. I think you have a clear 2 spade bid showing spades in a minor. And you're protected by the fact you're a passed hand. I'm not going to bury you and try for game. And it's very important that when the opponents open a no trump and we have shape, that we end up getting in there. Now, it's a little bit better if you're in the balancing seat and your partner's marked with some values. But here, you know, it went 3 passes to a no trump. What's the worst that can happen? Well, today, the nice lady in the south seat said double. What did she have? She had 9 points and 3 little spades. So they had no idea what they were doing. And they passed this out and you went minus 500. And they can't make a game their way. So that was a 0. And this is how our day went. So they had no idea what they were doing, but they caught us for 500. I had 2-2 in your suits and I had a bad hand. So that was wonderful. Number 25 we're going to go to. I don't know why we're going to go to this one. Oh, yes, this one. This was a declare play issue. So you passed, of course, and third chair, not vulnerable against vulnerable, opened 2 spades. Your partner said double, and it was up to you. And you have a clear 2 no trump bid to ask me to bid 3 clubs, and you will pass because we play Lebensal, so a direct 3 clubs over the double would show more values than this, probably about 8 to 10 points, maybe even 9 or 10 points. You are a passed hand, so you can't really have more than that. I agree with 2 no trump, planning on passing 3 clubs. Your partner, me, made a bad bid, which I made a lot of those today, actually. I made some bad overcalls on 5-3-3-2 hands that I shouldn't have and got punished. This one I made a bad bid. Over 2 no trump, I should have bid 3 spades, which is just saying, hey, you caught me with a big hand, game forcing, maybe double checking the spade stopper situation. But I just bid 3 no trump, which was a terrible bid because you may not have had a spade stopper and we might have been off the whole spade suit. So they led the 10 of spades, and this was your dummy. I'm going to try to shrink the screen here. Try to get the whole thing in one piece. There we go. Okay, bear with me one sec. Okay. And I'm going to move myself. Whoops. I'm going to try to move myself to the front here, just so we cover up the hand there. All right. So they led the 10 of spades by the south seat. And you can see that you have 5 clubs and a spade and a diamond. That's only 7 tricks. You need timing to get the hearts going. And that's kind of your only hope, right? You may end up being able to lead a diamond to the queen later, but for now, your best hope was to get hearts going. Hope the ace was onside, which was not impossible, but not likely. They led the 10 of spades, so unfortunately you are 1 spot card short of having another stopper. If you had king 8 fourth instead of king 7 fourth, you would have another stopper. But what happens when it goes 10 and you play low and the queen pops up? So that is almost certainly a singleton queen, right? She wouldn't cover her partner's 10 with the queen when there's the jack and the dummy, and south open 2 spades. So what should you do? If you win, okay, then you know you're toast as soon as south ever gets in, because she's going to have the entire spade suit ready to run. You do not have a second stopper. I think the better play here would be to duck. And ducking, you still are going to have your 1 spade stopper, right? The jack and the king are still in your hand to knock out the ace, but North is not going to have the tempo to play another spade because they only had a singleton. So you're going to be a tempo ahead of the defense. Now, can this cost? Yes. If South has the king of diamonds and North finds a diamond switch, it's not going to be good. But I think you're not going to be any worse off, because I think you're very unlikely to be making this deal if you take the king of spades. So ducking would work here because South has the ace of hearts, so North is going to win the queen of spades, and she's going to have to shift, and who knows what she's going to shift to, but a diamond gives up a trick, a heart makes your life a little bit easier, and a club doesn't really do anything for them. So you'll have time to lead hearts twice towards the king queen. You'll take 2 hearts, a spade is 3, the ace of diamonds is 4, and 5 clubs is 9. Okay, so now that was just a small little declare thing, which wasn't so easy. And now I'll try going back here and making this bigger again. That was 25. Let's head over to 27. And do we do 29? Yeah. So before we get to my favorite deal of the day, we're going to look at this one, which was unbelievable. And I'm going to show this lady's cards. So I mean, this was how our day went. Oh no, I want to make it smaller. Sorry. Got to make it smaller still. There we go. Okay. And one more time. So this lady was in 4 hearts, and I don't even remember how the auction went. How did the auction go? I think it went 1 heart, 2 hearts. Sorry, 1 heart, 1 spade, 2 hearts, 4 hearts. She has to lose a spade and a heart and a diamond, and she trumps her 2-2. There was no problem there, and so she has 2 entries to the table. A diamond entry, and she has a trump entry to the dummy where she can ruff her 3rd diamond. Well, most people in the world would play clubs by playing the queen and taking a finesse. Not our precious South here. She decided, after using her 2 entries to do nothing else, to just bang down the ace of clubs, because she was in a 7-card club fit, missing the king, and you may as well just bang down the ace when the singleton king is offside. Yes, that was a 0, of course. So that was how our day was going at the time. You shrug your shoulders. She has a perfectly normal finesse to try to make her contract. Instead, she just decided not to use her 2 entries to dummy and then bang down the ace, dropping the king when we had 7 of them. Okay, and then we're going to get to our final board of the day, which was my favorite and the one where Cindy did the best. Cindy did great today, a lot of good things. This was Cindy's hand. I'm going to just make this a tiny bit bigger. Even a tiny bit bigger for you guys. So nobody was vulnerable, and we're playing pairs, match points, and Cindy's left-hand opponent opened one heart, and her partner, that would be me, overcalled two clubs. And generally, I'm going to have my values and my distribution, whatever, when I overcall at the 2 level. Not vulnerable, it can be a little bit shaded. At pairs can be a little bit shaded, but I overcalled 2 clubs and I went 2 hearts on her right. So Cindy wants to bid. She has 8 points. She has a singleton heart. Passing out 2 hearts is just criminal at pairs when there's nobody vulnerable and you have a fit. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on me if she passes to bid, because she knows I have heart length. So I'm just going to pass it out. So what did Cindy do? The normal course of action with this hand would just be to raise to 3 clubs. You know you have a fit in clubs. But there's a few things that could happen when you raise to 3 clubs, especially at a pairs game, nobody vulnerable. Number one, the opponents are more likely to be encouraged to compete to 3 hearts once we've shown a fit. And we don't really want the opponents competing to 3 hearts. We'd love to just buy the hand ourselves. The other thing that could happen is we might miss a fit. We might miss a spade fit. We might even miss a diamond fit. For example, if your partner is 4, 3, 1, 5, you want to play in spades. So Cindy found a very good bid that would escape, I think, a lot of players. At pairs, she said double. And what double says is, hey, I have some values. I want to compete. I have probably the other 2 suits. And especially when the opponents are bidding and raising hearts, it does focus on the spade suit. You're almost certainly going to have 4 spades for this action. If you had a 5th spade, you probably would be bidding 2 spades as a passed hand. Or sorry, you weren't a passed hand, so maybe not. Maybe double could include a 5-card spade suit. But double keeps spades in the game. The only real danger is that your partner might pass, and you don't really want them to, because you don't have any defense against hearts, because you have a 3rd club, which is a disaster if you end up defending 2 hearts doubled. But I think it's very unlikely partner's going to have a penalty pass of 2 hearts for a couple of reasons. Number one is you've got the queen of hearts singleton, so you know, your partner would only pass where if you caught them with like king queen 10-9 or a holding like that, where they've just got hearts completely bottled up. And if your partner was like 2-4, 2-5 with a little bit extra strength, they probably would have overcalled 1-0 trump instead of 2 clubs. So if your partner has a minimum with a 4-card heart suit, they're likely just going to bid 2-0 trump over your double. So you haven't really lost anything, because then you can go back to 3 clubs. Double keeps spades and diamonds in the game. And Cindy made a really good bid with double. I bid 2 spades. And I'm just going to show you my hand. The one thing was I didn't think for an hour and then bid 2 spades, because that gives some information to Cindy that, hey, maybe I don't have a normal classic 2 spade bid. And she's not really allowed to take advantage of that. So I didn't want to put her in a bad position. I've seen these types of hands before, you know, enough times. I've played enough bridge in my life that I just automatically I'll bid 2 spades. We'll be in a 4-3 fit. That's totally cool. If Cindy has a better hand, she'll continue on. If she has club fit, she'll continue on. If she's looking for no trump, she may Q bid hearts. Like, I'm just going to bid 2 spades. We'll stay at the 2 level. We'll play in a 4-3 fit. The good part about playing in a 4-3 fit is that I'm the 2 spade bidder. I'm the declarer. And against perhaps weaker opposition, they're going to see the dummy is 4 trumps and a singleton heart. I know that their best defense is to play hearts and make the dummy rough, because that's our long hand. But they don't know that. They assume we're in a 4-4 fit and getting roughs in the dummy is worth extra tricks. So I bid 2 spades and went all pass. A little surprised the opponents didn't compete to 3 hearts. Cindy likely would have competed to 3 spades, but it didn't matter. The opponents led a heart as expected. They won their ace, but then they should have continued hearts and they would have beaten me. But instead, they shifted to diamonds, which didn't hurt me at all. I ended up, I'll just show you the whole hand here. I ended up, it was funny. The opponents played the ace of hearts, then diamond to the ace, diamond back to the king, and then the guy shrugged his shoulders and led his king of clubs. So I won the ace. I drew trump, the jack fell, and I took 10 tricks in spades. So we were plus 170, which was a clear top. People were making 110 in clubs or maybe plus 50 against 3 hearts, but getting to the major in pairs was worth a huge score. So well done to Cindy, doubling to keep spades in the game. And of course, you know, I knew that we're in a 4-3 fit and they're supposed to tap the dummy and make the dummy rough to make us, you know, really relinquish trump control. But I figured that was not going to happen. So that was it for our game today. It was a pleasure, and we ended up, I think, around 50-something%, second or third place by a few match points. That's okay. And we'll try again when you're back from Penticton. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.